Hey
Okay.
everyone, how's it going? This is Alan Baez with EARMILK. I am here for another episode of EARMILK Chats, and I am here with the reclusive, the eclectic, the one and the only Miss Vayda. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good.
Plans for Thanksgiving?
Go to my mama's house. Yeah.
I know you are usually cooking up the beats, but are you cooking up the beats or anything else for Thanksgiving?
I might help out. I feel like I really gotta test it out to see if I lost my touch in the kitchen. I
Mhm.
haven't cooked grill in like a good 2 years. I'm not gonna lie.
Is it 2 years?
Yeah, it's been like 2 years.
I feel you. You've been focusing all that cooking for the studio, I see.
I guess. Yeah. We could phrase it like that.
For sure, for sure. Now we're past a month and a half of Vaytrix being out. I gotta ask you, how has this album sat with you over the last month, and what's been the greatest relief off your shoulders?
Just having it out. Like finally having it out. Cause I've been meaning to drop a project since like July. So I've been promising everybody like a project in July. I kept pushing the date back, kept changing the name, all types of stuff. So it's just like, okay, it's finally out. I'm done. I did my job. Yeah.
Mission accomplished.
Mhm.
It's funny that you bring that up. I think that's the first thing I really wanted to ask you about it. Vaytrix, Matrix. You're doing the whole like Morpheus, Matrix undertones and themes. How did you fall on the name?
um, Somebody actually suggested it on live. I was on Instagram live and somebody had suggested Vaytrix because I was like, I'm changing the name. It was supposed to be melodramatic at first, but I was like, I'm changing the name. I don't really like resonate with that anymore. So somebody they were suggesting all types of names, but Vaytrix was the one that stood out to me.
Do you feel like melodramatic was like in the moment of you? Like, do you think that was a moment of you being melodramatic when you decided to change the name?
Not really. It's like now I can't just like name an album something and then like have no content behind it. Like once you start getting bigger, you have to like think about like the story, like branding and all those types of things. Like melodramatic when it came time to like commit to like music video ideas or like Instagram posts and stuff like that. I was like, I don't feel like doing that. Like I don't feel like, having like a theater project, you know what I mean?
No, I love it. Do you do that often? Do you like I know a lot of performers and creatives typically go on stream or they'll be like, they're live streaming or they're going live when they're creating or in the studio. Do you do that often with your fans? You always try to have that like one-on-one time so that way they can also have some input?
Not really in the process of creating the music, but like maybe like a year ago, like I would go live whenever I finished a song. And like a lot of my songs is named after my followers, like my older songs. Like literally I'll be like, name the song right now. Like and some of it is like their Instagram names. Like To Mary, that was a follower. Like I don't think that's his Instagram no more, but To Mary, that was off of one of my followers on live. He was like naming after me. Soft Father, that's another song I got. That was their Instagram name. Like they just be naming my songs for me.
It's like having your audience do half the work. So that's pretty, at least the easy part. I love it.
Put it in the word, yeah.
But tell me more about that process. How, because I know you're still relatively new. You only have a few projects out, and you've only been active for the last few years. But I want to know more. Like, tell me more about how you really got comfortable producing and kind of inviting other people to watch your work.
I feel like producing, I was always comfortable with other, like at least the internet, because I would just drop stuff on SoundCloud all the time, like back in high school, and then like it got like a little bit of a buzz. So I always had like a community just from producing. I feel like it took like 2020 when this wasn't when I finally like was like in real life, like in the studios, like outside and stuff like that. But like the internet always been like a comfortable place for me.
I love it. I love it. Do you feel like it's easier to kind of get into the swing of not performing, but producing and kind of creating music live in front of an audience, or feeling comfortable putting your art out there, since we're kind of living in this digital age of people, streaming on TikTok, getting an input on their fans like on a day-to-day basis? Do you feel like it's easier for you to feel comfortable letting people into your work?
Well, not really. Like I don't ever show them my process of making anything. Like I don't be on live when I'm recording a song and I don't be on live when I'm making the beat. Like I'll show them the finished product. But like the process, that's still something that's very much like I don't want any input. Like even if I'm in a studio, I don't like too many people in the studio. I like to be there preferably by myself, just me and an engineer. Like I don't want people in on the process of it. But the finished product, I feel like once it's created, it's not really mine anymore. Like it's like, you know, it's not really personal anymore once it's finished, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I like that.
Yeah.
I think that that shows that we got really lucky then when you made that video showing your breakdown of how you produced, was it Misdemeanor?
Yeah, and that was even after the song was like already out. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't show y'all and me in the studio trying to make a beat. Like, I was just saying, like, okay, this is how I made it. You know what I mean?
Well, thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it. On that topic of music videos, we got to talk about the videos that you've released recently. You had like 3 in such a short time span. What was it? Where the fuck Beyonce at?
To be real skinny, real broke, but now all my pockets fat. And it's all my copycats. Like, can y'all go and kill these rat? Like, can you put in work for me? Maybe then I give you tea. Cut off all this dead ass weight like I had lipo surgery. You hate me now, but why is that? You break me down, I build me back. Bigger, better, like I'm Texas. Where the fuck Beyonce at?
Misdemeanor.
But if I ignore your calls, I swear I ain't sorry. Getting bigger, but it still be hard to find me. Vayda do not stay long, she in out the party. If she thicker than me, she might get a car key. I be in a telly with a baddie with a Barbie. I be in a telly with a baddie with a Barbie.
And Afrovay.
So I can't do cocaine. I remember faces, I don't really remember names. When I do not have my glasses, I don't really see a thing. Yeah, when I pop out, they be telling me they glad I came. And I might not talk to you, I think you cool, don't think you lame. And I can't show these bitches, I know they all running game. And I cannot pay a nigga, bitch, I'm a renegade. Fuck you want, bitch, what you in my face for? I don't wanna buy designer until I can get it tailored. She don't do her job good, so I cannot pay her. She turned into my enemy, so now I gotta slay her.
I gotta ask you, which of these videos was the most fun to create?
I'll say where the fuck Beyonce at was the most fun. That was the most fun because like my best friend, she choreographed it, like, and it was the most different. Like it felt like a for real music video shoot, like a professional music video shoot. I'll say that one was the most fun.
How did that process of you making those 3 music videos stack up with the ones you have earlier from this year, like with Hilary Duff?
What you mean, like stack up in terms of like?
In terms of like, so you were able to get those 3 out pretty fast. Like, do you feel was it easy for you to kind of assemble that team to create those videos really fast compared to like how you made videos earlier in the year, or were they all kind of the same process?
It's kind of the same process. Like for the most part with like the videos and stuff like that, like I might have an idea here and there, but I kind of just leave it to the director or the person shooting the video to come up with most of the stuff. Like where the fuck Beyonce at? Like, oh, where's TF? Can I curse? Where TF? Okay, where Beyonce at? Like I knew I wanted to do single ladies choreo. That was my only input. I was like, I want like black and white like single ladies, and I want the single ladies choreo in it. Everything else is kind of like handled for me because I'm not really a visual person, so I just leave it up to the directors to really like take control of that.
How do you find your directors for your videos? Do you typically get people that reach out to you to want to direct, or is it more of like a management sort of deal?
Mostly people that reach out to me. Like Rhina, she directs most of my music videos. Like she literally just came to one of my photo shoots one day and she was like, I really love your music. I wanna make a music video for you. And like now we're like 4 or 5 videos in for real. So it's mostly people like I meet.
That I love that so much. Just for shits and giggles, do you have any other videos coming up for the year?
I don't know yet. I don't know yet. I might not. I really don't know. Like like
Yeah,
I don't know. We'll see.
we'll see. I love it. Going back to earlier about Vaytrix, I'm really curious to know because I know you were planning this album and you were pushing it back, and you said at one point it was like a different name and had a different, different energy to it. Where and I know you also dropped another project. What was it? It was I just had it. It was Fever from earlier in the year. So, what was the creative process like navigating both of those albums? Do you just kind of create and then you have songs that are from the same session, or was it a little bit more of a intentionally working with this producer and knocking them all out and then working on another album?
Yeah, Fever was kind of created like that was only created in like 2 sessions for real. Like it was just 2 sessions. Me and Essential Her wanted to work together, so literally we set up like 2 sessions, and that was all the 4 tracks came out. It was like, okay, we need a music video for it. I think we shot 2 music videos, and that was that. Vaytrix was a little bit more of a process because it was my first time really like from the business standpoint, that was my first time like being in a distro, like having marketing money, having a budget for music videos and stuff like that. So it's like a lot more planning involved in Vaytrix as opposed to Fever.
Now, typically, do you take? I know that you have most of the production credits on Vaytrix, and I know Fever was a collaborative project where you didn't have to do much of the production. But for your earlier works, do you feel more comfortable taking being the lead on production?
Only when I'm trying to introduce a new sound. Like I feel like Vaytrix is like a new phase of my life. So it's like, people don't really producers don't know what sound I want, so I have to create it first. And then I could work with other producers because they'll know what sound I want and they could play off of what I already put out. So Vaytrix is kind of like a new phase. So that's the only reason I produce most of it. So like other producers know, okay, she likes this sound, she's on this wave right now. Let me like send her stuff like this or work on stuff that sounds similar to it. So it's like when I'm doing a new sound, I want to produce it, but then for like the projects after that, I don't really have to touch production as much.
For sure, for sure. Thank you for sharing that with me. It's really interesting hearing your process on more from the producer standpoint than like less of the rapping and singing standpoint. I want to ask you then, how did you get connected with Tony Snow and Popstar Benny since they had the final credits on the last song of the project?
Atlanta. I'm from Atlanta, so it's not being outside, being in Atlanta. That was that.
I love it. Natural. We're gonna go back into the production because I want to know. I want to just pick your brain on for production, but we're gonna come back to that later. I wanted to ask you. There were a lot of fun names featured on Vaytrix, but one of the features that stands out the most is Mavi the Mayor. Now, I saw that you opened for him on his tour. How did that working relationship come into fruition? And do you guys have any more music coming down the pipeline?
We met in LA, but I forgot that we met in LA. He reminded me. I was like, oh yeah, we did meet in LA like a year ago at like a house party or something. So that was kind of crazy. I forgot about that. But definitely I hope for more music. I feel like they've been like really supportive, like Mavi, his whole team and everything. Like I was actually surprised that they liked my music because I like Mavi's music too, but I was actually kind of surprised that he liked my music. And as soon as I sent him the feature to get on, he got on it super quick, sent it back real quick. And I feel like that's one of the best verses on the album. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm a hardcore Mavi fan. I actually talked to him in 2022. So that's how I got introduced because he was promoting his verse, his feature on Morpheus, and that whole little that sample you have, that whole groove you have is just crazy. So, yeah, shout outs to the mayor. Now, on that topic of touring, you made a tweet recently where you said how some venues have a really evil energy behind them. So I wanted to ask you, what was the most wicked experience you've ever witnessed at a show, whether it was performing or just as like a commentator or like just
Really
viewing it?
so like it's kind of just venues in general. Like you ever have that one place that you go out to and you never have a good time there? Like you never have a good time. Like it's just every time you go there, it's a bad time. I was really kind of referring to like it was really when I was thinking about it, I was thinking of a club that I be at sometimes that I don't go anywhere because I feel like every time I go there, it's a bad fucking time. Like the energy of the club does not align with my energy at all because I never have a good time there.
What club was it?
I'm not gonna say the name. That's like bad.
That's fair.
It doesn't exist anymore, so I'm kind of lucky. Like it's not even like a club anymore. They shut down, so that's great.
Do you feel like that was a club that was just like conjured by like some hater or some like dark force specifically just to give everyone a bad time in Atlanta?
Not really, because people have good times. I think the energy was just really bad for me. Like I just don't get along with the energy of that club. So yeah.
For sure, for sure. Now, being from Atlanta, you've grown around some of the most prolific producers of the genre. You got Mike Will, Jermaine Dupri, and TM88. Growing up, who were some of the most influential producers that had an impact on your style?
I don't really like when people ask questions like that because I'm a song person. I don't be knowing. Like I love a song, never hear it for years, hear the song again, and I'd be like, oh, Jay-Z made that. Like I didn't even fucking know Jay-Z. Like I don't really be knowing who people are. I just know what song I like. But I will say like I grew up in an era where like Pharrell was taking over the radio for real. And I feel like that was like the main influence because, you know, he has that 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's like you could easily recognize that it's a Pharrell beat. But yeah, like I don't really be knowing who people is. I just be knowing I like that song. That's it. That's it. You can't. I don't know who produced it. I don't know name.
Was there like a specific song that had an impact on you growing up, or really kind of like motivated you, or had like a stern influence?
Not really producing, but like I remember like vividly when I heard Mrs. Officer by like Lil Wayne while I was playing outside one day, and I was like, that is real music. Like that is such a good song. Like I remember vividly playing outside and hearing somebody drive by playing that song. I was like, that is real music. Like that's such a good song. Like I love that.
Hearing that song and having the influence on, or having the influence from it, and then seeing how like Lil Wayne is kind of like how he's become recently, man. But
Mm.
shout out to Wayne. Shout out to Wayne. Now, something that sets your music apart is that each of your songs instrumentally just has a very distinct character and identity to it. No two songs carry the same or genetics or the same identical sound. So, what's your process for making beats? What goes on in your head when a sound catches your ear?
It's really natural. I don't really be thinking about nothing. I do sample a lot. So like if I like literally I'll be listening to a song in the car, screenshot it real quick, be like, I'm gonna sample this when I get home. So then that's I feel like that's the most intentional part is what I'm sampling or like how it's making me feel. Everything else is just basically like really feeling based. It's like where I want to take it. Okay, this tempo sounds nice. Let me take it there. So I think the sample is the most intentional part about it. Everything else is just kind of how I feel.
For sure.
Mhm.
Now, we don't sample snitch here, obviously, but I am curious if you can answer this. It was what is like, have you ever had a scenario to where you heard a sample that was a little out of pocket or just a little like out of means, and that you wanted to sample and try to make work? Like, what was the most difficult song to sample?
Um, you mean like legally or like instrumental?
I think creatively, like, have you ever had that as a challenge where like showed you a song and you just really wanted to turn it into a sample, but it was maybe like the drums were just a little difficult to sequence around it or chop it
Yeah,
up?
I mean that happens all the time. Like, cause I like listening to older music and a lot of like jazz and funk. Like Misdemeanor was a hard ass song to sample because it was like literally a jazz pianist and it was like no metronome. So it's literally I'm having to chop, 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 chop it up just to get it in a time signature. So that happens all the time because I like listening to older music.
Do you have more of a process to creating music, or is it more like it comes more naturally?
Everything natural. Like I don't force it. Like I can go like weeks without making a song because I'm not going to sit there and force myself to make a song if I don't have nothing to talk about or if I don't feel inspired. But I feel like since when I first started rapping, I would force myself to make music. Like since I forced myself so much to produce because I was really trying to be a professional producer, and when I was rapping before I had a buzz, I would force myself to do it so much. It's kind of like now I could take a break and come back to it, and it's like it's easy. Like it's just I could just flow naturally without having to do too much now at this point.
Can you remind me, were you rapping and producing out the gate at the same time, or were you producing first and then you got more comfortable with rapping?
Producing first, and then I had dropped my first project in 2022 called VV, and that was all produced by me. And then once that started getting a buzz, I started working with other producers and things like that.
Do you feel like it was a little difficult to acclimate going from, or creatively going from, like, focusing more on a producer to doing all elements, like the rapping, or do you feel like it was a very natural, like, transition?
No, because cause once I was like, I'm not going to be a professional producer, I was like, I'm going to be a rapper. So it was never really about the producing anymore. It was just I knew what sound I wanted, and I knew that I have to do it first. So other producers know this is what I want. Send this to me, and this is Vayda. Like I knew I wanted to create a sound, and I knew I was the only person who could do that. So that was the only reason I produced the first project was just because I was like, hey, this is my sound. My name is Vayda. Like I have projects I don't even touch production on because I feel like I'm a rapper. I don't really feel like I'm a producer. But like with Vaytrix, I was like, I'm creating a new sound, so I need to produce a lot of this to create that sound. The next project, I might not produce anything, just because I'm getting beats that sound like how I want them to sound. You know, I feel like I'm a rapper. Producing is a lot of work, so I only do it when I like. It's intentional when I do it to create a new sound. But I'd rather not touch producing. If everybody's sending me beats I like, I'm not gonna produce. But if they're not sending me nothing I like, then I'll be like, damn, okay, I gotta go make the beat. You know what I mean?
I see what you mean. I really like that. So it's all about creating, like producing as a means of like establishing the example. And like once other producers can like follow that lead, then you can kind of take like chill with
Yeah.
the production.
Vaytrix dropped, I started getting better beats again. Before Vaytrix, I felt like all the beats sucked. But like now, like since Vaytrix is out, my beat email, I can actually like listen through my beat email and find something I like. I'm like, okay, think like it's doing its job, you know?
I love it. I love it. I'm excited to hear what people send you. Going off of this one.
Yeah, I'm excited. I've been finding a lot of like new producers I want to tap in with. So yeah, it's been cool.
I'm very excited. I'm very excited to hear it. Now, my friend, I have one last question for you. Thank you so much for rocking with me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we are approaching the 1 year anniversary of Forrest Gump, the mixtape that really kickstarted things. I think it came out December 8th of last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're coming up to the 1 year anniversary of it. So
Mm-hmm.
I want to ask you, what's been the biggest change since dropping this mixtape, and what's been the biggest challenge you've overcome?
Um, Forrest Gump, I feel like that was way more experimental. Like that was like my first year of like actually like being able to live off the rap. So I was trying everything. Like I would go to studio sessions, have like hella niggas in my studio sessions just to see if I liked it. Then I was recording everywhere, all types of different places. Like like I was experimenting a lot in life, so it kind of reflects in that project. I feel like Vaytrix is a little bit more tuned in. I feel like the next project is going to be even more tuned in because I know exactly what I want and exactly what I like now. But I love Forrest Gump. It's cute. I didn't really like use no money to market it or like do. I feel like Vaytrix I have a bigger vision than what I did when I dropped Forrest Gump. Like I didn't really have that big of a vision yet, but it helped to like develop that vision because you know Forrest Gump's a movie, Vaytrix is a movie, so it's like I had to do Forrest Gump to come up with Vaytrix.
I love that response. So now that you've established a vision and you have like you've led by example and you know what you're looking for and you know what you're going to be accepting moving forward, what do you hope for, or what do you hope to see in the future?
Me looking good in music videos, a vacation, a nice vacation, a yacht, a boat somewhere. Um, Definitely like I don't know, more travel. I want to go to Europe again. I don't know what I see. I really be taking it day by day. I don't know yet. I don't know.
Well, Ms. Veda, that is going to be all the questions I have for you. Was there any other closing statements or anything you want to share before we tap out?
Stream Vaytrix and the deluxe should be coming out pretty soon.
Well, we're getting a deluxe version.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm excited for that. Were there any other features on there that we should keep an eye out for, or do you want to keep it all surprise?
keep it secret, but I think it's a couple features on there you're not gonna expect at all.
Well, I'm excited for this now. I'm excited for this now. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.